Why does it seem like you've been doing nothing except lounging about in bed all day? Do you tend to lose motivation and become tired easily? Do you think this is a kind of behavior is just plain laziness? Burnout and laziness have a lot of traits, which can make it difficult to distinguish between the two. Unrelenting stress and an inability to cope with it leads to burnout, which causes emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. Over 40% of people in the United States alone experience more severe burnout symptoms, which accounted for more than 75% of all cases. It is crucial now, more than ever, to inform individuals about burnout and aid them better in comprehending its origins. Your life seems to be lacking everything. Are you going through the motions and living your life on automatic pilot? Does the feeling of being estranged from your inner self still exist? You can be experiencing depersonalization, a burnout syndrome, without being aware of comprehending it. Most trauma survivors who also suffer from depersonalization express a strange emotional numbness or emptiness, as if they were seeing life from a perspective different than their own. They don't feel like themselves anymore. They don't appear to be paying attention to anything. On a daily basis, they also struggle with an overpowering sense of helplessness and an inability to reclaim control of their lives. You once had motivation. Laziness is a personality quality. Character qualities also have a tendency to stay steady throughout time. A person who is lazy never feels like working hard or devoting oneself. However, if you were formerly very driven and successful, frequently excelling in particular areas, and have just recently started to feel worn out, indifferent, and unmotivated, it's more probable that you are experiencing burnout than laziness, as most people would assume you once had a passion. The distinction between someone who is burnt out and someone who is lazy may be seen in the former struggles to maintain interest in or enjoyment from prior passions. Burnout might make it challenging for you to do these things you formerly enjoyed or were enthusiastic about, regardless of whether they are a skill, a sport, or just a regular academic or professional performance. Because of how much you strained yourself and pushed yourself to the breaking point because of it, you can even grow to detest or loathe it. Your mood and irritability have changed. Do you find yourself becoming irritable and snappy all of a sudden? Do you frequently experience uncontrollable emotions these days and not understand why? Common yet sometimes disregarded symptoms of burnout include depression and irritation. Therefore, if you suddenly find it difficult to manage your emotions, especially if it has never been an issue before, this might be the cause. The opposition of this is true of lazy individuals, who are frequently unfazed, calm, easygoing, and unaffected by events. One of the most upsetting warning signs that a person may be emotionally and physically exhausted is when they start to disregard their own needs and socially isolate themselves. Your eating and or sleeping habits have changed in a worrying way. You cease putting in an effort to maintain your appearance or groom yourself, and you have a tendency to spend most of your time alone doing nothing. The distinction between being lazy and being burnt out is that you weren't always this way. These alterations came about gradually. Finally, and maybe most significantly, you should be aware that burnouts happen gradually. Therefore, all of the previously listed problems, losing interest and drive, especially in things we used to enjoy, feeling cut off from yourself and the world around you, retreating socially, and disregard your own needs, don't happen overnight. According to studies, there are really 5 main phases of burnout, each of which has a varying intensity. The honeymoon stage, beginning of tension, ongoing stress, burnout, and reoccurring burnout. The second phase, which is still characterized by a modest degree of stress, but during which optimism, interest, motivation, and performance may already start to wane, is when many people start to suffer symptoms. By the time you get to the 5th and final stage, burnout has already ingrained itself in your life, to the point of an ongoing mental and physical exhaustion is more severe and difficult to treat, which increases your risk of experiencing sadness and anxiety. Early detection of burnout makes it simpler for you to get assistance and recover from it. Because of this, it's critical to spread knowledge of burnout rather than just dismissing it as laziness, as most people do.